Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.
Packed crowds, glorious sunshine, a fascinating qualifying lineup. All set for a perfect touring car day here at Thruxton, especially with Louise down there on the grid.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, as you say, stunning day out here at Thruxton. I am down with championship leader Tom Ingram. Now, when the flag dropped on qualifying yesterday, he was in P6. He'd already lost a couple of times for exceeding track limits, but then news came through yesterday evening that P6 time had gone as well, and Tom was dropped down to P10. Were you surprised when you heard that news? Because it was pretty late in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it happened at about 6 o'clock last night. I think it all happened. So, yeah. Look, it's frustrating. Of course, it's frustrating getting when you think you've finished qualifying, you think that's where you're going to start to then get put back. But hey, rules are fairly clear. If you go off the track and you get an advantage, that's your lap time gone. So you can't fault them for sorting that out.
So it's all about the fight back now. You've got 75 kilos on board, maximum ballast. How tough is that fight back going to be in those conditions?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. In typical Brit fashion, no one's ever content with the weather, and this probably isn't that fantastic when we've got 75 kilos. We've got to look after that left front for the entire race distance. All things considered, I think we should be okay. We did a bit of a race run in free practice 1, which went okay, so hopefully we should be in fairly good shape, so we're all good.
Fingers crossed. OK, let's go over now to Paul. He's with another man who's got a bit of a tough job on his hands today. He's with Ash Sutton down in P18.
Thanks, Lou. Yeah, we're trialling something. I'm down with the champ, Ash Sutton. We're trialling something. Get onto Twitter, at ITV Motorsport, using the hashtag BTCC. When you know I'm going to interview someone on the grid, give us a shout, get your questions in. We've got a couple of questions. So here is Ash. Right, OK, first of all, mate, good to see you, fella. OK, Paul McGuinness, he said, do you have any pre-race routines to get you in the zone? And good luck, mate.
To be honest, no. I just like to keep myself to myself. Have a little sort of black period, as we call it, where we just zone out and focus on the job in hand. And thank you.
That's very nice. And you addressed the camera. How very PC. Top man. Next one. OK, Alex Cross. Favourite part of the track and why? Good luck for today. This place is awesome, isn't it?
There isn't a corner where you don't get to breathe. It's going to have to be Church. It's all about commitment. There is a bit more runoff now this year round, but you're just on the edge. You know, Paul, you've been here. You go in questioning whether you can go fast, and you always come out the other side going, why did I do it that slow? It's just one of those corners that those bits down there require to be nice and big.
I love it. And just one for me as well. You were a second quicker than this in the test, mate, and you were P1 in the earlier in the year. What's going on, mate? You're a second off.
Yeah, obviously, I'll be honest with you, it's just one of those things. The temperature obviously doesn't help us. I think a lot of people were holding a lot back. We actually showed a lot of our hand on that test day because we actually used it as a test day. So I'll be honest with you, for me, the day's a second a lap slower, but I think everyone else has just pulled it out the bag a little bit more.
Top man, well, good luck, fella.
You need to do me one thing. Go and check out Josh Cook and make sure he's got his sun cream on.
Josh Cook's very ginger. He does need the sun cream. Louise is with Matt Neal.
OK, thanks. I am now up at the front of the grid with Matt Neal on pole for the second successive year. Beat his own qualifying lap record yesterday. And that really was quite some lap, wasn't it, Matt? You were hanging it all out.
I think we were all hanging it out there, but yeah, I closed my eyes and managed to get to the end, and good time. But it's great. It's first pole for the new Type R, the new F8 Type R, so that was it was pretty sweet on our home ground.
We've been talking earlier on in the show about the fact that there's a lot of youngsters doing all the winning so far this season. It's nice to see some of the old guard back on the front row of the grid.
Well, I suppose the older ones know the shortcuts here and there, so. Yeah, I mean, this has always got bragging rights, Thruxton, but it's always been good territory for the Hondas because it's a bit of a balls out circuit. But yeah, it all came together, so I'm not gonna throw it away. Hopefully.
You've got Colin alongside you in the rear-wheel drive BMW, so he's going to be pretty quick off the line. What's your strategy in terms of how you're going to go about beating Colin?
With this heat, it should favour the BM. He should get us off the line because it's a long drag. We're flat through the turn 1. It's a long drag down to the complex, and then he should look after his tyres better for the last third of the race. So if he gets me, we've got to work on him and do him quickly, and then try and hang on at the end.
Have a good one. let's go and grab a word with Colin. A very good chance of getting on the podium, a very good chance of the win today. And in fact, if Colin gets on the podium, it will be his 125th BTCC pole. Colin, earlier in the show, Tim was saying that basically this one really should be yours. You could bought this one. What does he know about it?
I don't think it was ever that easy when Tim was driving either. But yeah, I'm in the prime seats here. You know, we had this really strong day yesterday, and these type of conditions suit us. You know, the hot, grippy tracks. So you know, it's going to be a race to the end. You know, tyre wear is the key factor here today. So we're going to be conscious to manage that in the early laps and try and be fast at the end, really.
How can you, or how much can you look after your tyres here?
If you're in the lead, it's a bit easier, but if you're in the pack and under pressure, you know, then it becomes a bit more difficult. So I think as long as you keep it in mind and do your best on that front, obviously it's a race, so you know, you're trying to push on and get to the lead. So yeah, you know, I'll just think about getting you know, the perfect launch here and do my best.
125th podium on the cards. That'd be a nice box to tick, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice milestone. Not thinking too much about you know, stats and things at the moment, so I just try and focus on the start at the moment and hope the rest goes well.
Have fun out there. Right, now time to grab a word with a guy who achieved his best ever qualifying position yesterday, Brett Smith. He was so keyed up going into the qualifying session, he's so keyed up, in fact, that he made himself a little nauseous. Shall we say that? But let's see how he's feeling today. Cool, calm, relaxed, ready to race?
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous after yesterday. Yeah, but on it now. Yeah, firmly going to stick with these two boys. Leave these boys behind and try and get that first podium.
How much would it mean to you, that first podium, and how achievable is it?
Well, I've managed to go P3. I know it was the best of the rest. I think these boys had a couple of attempts on me. I think so. Race pace and fast at the box in free practice one. We did a race run really strong. So, absolutely, yeah.
And you've got a good car under you, and a car that we know has a good record here, and a car that always runs well here. So really, everything is coming together, isn't it?
I said at the start of the season, I know Thruxton's the circuit I know the least. But as you say, Honda typically goes well around here. Front-wheel drive also goes well around here. Double whammy. You see Matt's there, Camus is just behind. Jack had a couple of issues. Matt's not too far back either. It's very much a Honda circuit, so everything's aligned for me to get a podium today.
So what's your strategy? Just try and hang on like Billy-O to the two guys in front, or how much of an eye have you got to keep on what's going on behind you?
I'm going to stick on the back of these two. You're going to lose too much time. You can easily lose sort of half second to second battling. It's not worth it when I know I'm faster than the guys behind in race trim. Stick with these boys, unless one of these two are particularly slow. We've got an issue, I won't be attacking them. I'll sit with them. I won't let Neil push me back into Camish either. Stick with them and try and get that first podium for sure. Yeah.
Best of luck, go get him. Right, we're all set down here, so let's go over to Tim and to David in the commentary box.
And this promises to be another great day of racing at Thruxton. You know the score, it's the fastest circuit that we come to. There's always a little bit of a question mark over tyres. It's an abrasive circuit, it's a fast circuit. But so far, Tim, tyres haven't really been a factor. The teams have been on top of it this weekend.
Yeah, they have, and they have very much since last year when Dunlop introduced the slightly wider tyre, so spreading the load a little bit better. And several people doing race simulations in free practice and no problems at all. There could still be the odd one. They still have to behave themselves over the curbs. It takes really lap 3 before the pressures are fully up, so no curb strikes at the chicane on the first couple of laps at least, and hopefully the tyres will last.
Now, off the start, surely we're expecting a rear-wheel drive car to lead, but what about the way the race might flow? Is it going to be a rear-wheel drive race, or can the front-wheel drive cars come back?
It'll be a front-wheel drive race initially if they push the limits.
Right.
But they will be mindful, as Tom Ingram said, they need to be mindful of tyre management. It just depends. You know, the first corner here is flat out off the start line because you haven't got the run up from the chicane, so it's absolutely flat. 2 abreast, maybe 3 abreast round the first corner, and then it'll see how the order shakes out down at the complex.
And so the green flag is waved. We are about to find out exactly who will come out on top at Thruxton this season. Race 1 set to go. This final formation lap, a chance to bring up the pressures, to get the warmth into the rubber as well. And as the cars turn through Allard, it is Matt Neal that leads the pack after qualifying. Matt Neal on pole position. Colin Turkington with him at the front of the grid, ahead of Brett Smith and Dan Camish for an all-Honda second row. Row 3, Senna Proctor going strongly, and then Sam Tordoff, the first of those to benefit from Tom Ingram's penalty. Tom Chilton is on row 4 with a still very under-the-weather Andrew Jordan. The 5th row of the grid is where you find Chris Smiley, and then championship leader Tom Ingram alongside. Row 6, Matt Simpson with Adam Morgan, second in the championship alongside him. Rob Collard is next with race winner this year, Jack Goff for company. Another race winner is Josh Cook, he's 15th ahead of Tom Oliphant. Then it's Rob Austin and the reigning champion Ash Sutton, 18th. Mike Bushell, 19th. James Cole lining up with him. Then Aidan Moffat, who was all over the grass at the end of qualifying yesterday. He's 21st ahead of James Nash. Then Josh Price and Jason Plato, 24th. Jake Hill comes next ahead of Rory Butcher. Stephen Jelly, 27th from Michael Caine, Ollie Jackson and newcomer this year, Bobby Thompson. With the back row being Tom Boardman, one to watch to see if he can make progress, and Sam Smelt's Audi alongside. Now, we don't have to worry about an option tyre here. We do have to worry, though, about ballast, and that is championship weight. So Tom Ingram carries the 75 kilos. He is 10th on the grid. Adam Morgan's got 66 to lug around, 57 for Josh Cook. He's 15th on the grid. Ash Sutton with 39, 18th. Aidan Moffat with 33 is 21st. But Colin Turkington with only 9 kilos lining up second on the grid. So Colin Turkington very much the man to beat in this race as the cars work their way back towards the grid. And the man who went really well at Donington is Chris Smiley. Chris starting 9th on the grid here. What are the chances, Chris?
It's looking good, to be honest. We only got a little bit of weight on. We saved our tyres in qualifying yesterday. We didn't throw any sets if we didn't need to. The car feels sharp and I think we can go forward.
And the car's been working really well this season, and the team has advanced as well, so confidence in the team must be pretty high.
Yeah, listen, we've got a great bunch of guys, great bunch of sponsors, got a great car now, so it's just down to me to do a great job for everyone, and I'm really feeling up to it today. You know, we didn't do the official test here 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, and with a little bit of catch-up yesterday, but the car feels good, and I think we can go forward.
You say you've been catching up. Have you caught up, or is there still a bit more to find in this first race?
You're always looking for more, David, aren't you? You're never satisfied with what you have, but what we have today is a competitive package.
Excellent. We'll leave you to it. Good luck, Chris.
Thank you.
Chris Smiley then, who really has, and so too the team, but Taylor's BTC Norlin squad moved on hugely this year.
Yeah, continuing to show great pace. Obviously, it is a Honda favourite circuit, and they've taken the information from Dynamics and using it well. But I was having a long chat with James Nash's teammate, who, of course, has come into this championship this year, having lots of experience in Super 2000, BTCC cars, etc. Never driven an NGTC car, and just struggling to get that feel, that driver feel, to give him the confidence he needs, but he will only get better.
Indeed so. Returning to the BTCC, he's won a race in it, so he's no slouch. Been very successful in international touring car competitions in recent seasons, so as he does become familiar, he will be yet another driver to watch. So the grid is formed. Round 7 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship set to get underway. Glorious conditions, a huge crowd here, and they are set to be treated, I'm sure, to some great racing. The field stretching all the way round towards the chicane. It's the 1x1 staggered grid, and Matt Neal at the very front of it. So the yellow flags just waving to say to people, remember, you've got to stop, you've got to come up to the grid. Regulation flag wave, and the last few cars are there. Matt Neal is the man at the front. There is Sam Smelt, who will round out the grid, another of the rookies in this year's championship. Tom Boardman, penultimate on the grid alongside. 5-second board is displayed. We are set to go racing. The lights will go red. Who is going to make the best start as the lights go out now? Dreadful start by Brett Smith. Great start by Colin Turkington, who is away like a tickled rat as they get themselves in towards Allard for the first time, but he's not made the move. He's on the outside, and Matt Neal tries to brave it out on the inside line all the way up to the complex. Here comes Turkington up the inside, going towards green, and then they get to the complex itself. Matt Neal will have the inside line for the first element, and he gets the race lead. Camish is third. Jordan's made a great start as well. He's fourth. Tordoff is fifth, then it's Chilton as they wriggle their way through Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave for the first time. It is Matt Neal in the lead, but only just.
Yeah, with a shorter distance round turn 1 and the inside into this complex, Matt Neal was able to just hold that position, and I saw Turkington giving him plenty of room at the first corner.
Andrew Jordan, great start. He really does not feel at all well, but you wouldn't think it the way that he's going as you're on board with Adam Morgan. Tom Oliphant, his teammate, just ahead on the left. Rob Austin directly ahead up the road. And the Mercedes with 66 kilos trying to battle its way up the order. The two teammates tripped over each other in race one at Donington. They don't want to do it again, and Morgan goes through on the inside at Church.
Yeah, I was worrying about that myself as I saw the two teammates together, but with the inside for Church, Morgan's always going through, but you were right. Andy Jordan made an absolutely scalding start, and remember, he is feeling very much under the weather. Watch them all staying off the curbs, at least onto this first lap. Good driving.
So Matt Neal it is who leads at the end of lap one. It's Connie Turkington biding his time, but can he not find an answer? Remember, his car is fractionally heavier. Dan Camish running in the pack in third place. We're on board with Jordan, heading up now through Allard into the complex. In fifth spot, it's Tordoff. Sixth is Chilton. Seventh is Proctor. Eighth is Brett Smith, who made a bad start. Remember, ninth is Smiley, and 10th is Tom Ingram, the championship leader.
This is on board with Andy Jordan. Look at that nice clear track. He gets the car hooked up, drives through the gap. There's Brett Smith. He just finds a gap there, nearly goes to the inside, but goes around the outside. He's still accelerating flat out round the outside of Proctor and slots into fourth place. He'll be very pleased with that. I bet he's not feeling poorly now.
It's a perfect medicine, isn't it? So fourth, and you can see what was going on between the two race leaders, side by side all the way through the complex. Matt Neal eventually staying ahead. Now there is Jordan coming under attack from Sam Tordoff in the Motorbase Ford. Jordan, of course, an ex-Motorbase driver, and he's just dropping back a little bit, and the pack behind is building up.
Yeah, he's not just staying with the lead three at the moment, but it is obviously very early days. It doesn't take more than a lap, really, for the tyres to come up to temperature, at least. For pressure, that takes another lap. So ideal performance, really, on laps 3 and 4.
Over the timing line, it is Matt Neal that still leads the race. Connie Turkington in second, Dan Camish third. Bit of a gap back now, only half a second, but it's Jordan, Tordoff, Chilton, Proctor.
And that long-standing lap record of Ivan Muller's has gone already on the very first flying lap, with Matt Neal a 17.2, beating the record that stood since 2002.
Fantastic. So Matt Neal, a 1:17.270, leading by half a second. Colin Turkington staying with him, but then look for fourth place. Jordan now having to go defensive and keep Tordoff and Chilton and Proctor and Smith and Smiley and Ingram behind him.
That's such a great shot, that forward shot of the cars coming through Noble, right on the limit. These corners, in previous years, they've been flat out, but the cars are more powerful now, and they do struggle. Cook looking to make a move down the inside of Collard on the run down to Church, but he's not really close enough. Collard's going to shot. No, he's not. Very brave by Cook. I thought Collard was going to take the line there, but wow, that was brave. That's 125 miles an hour on the apex.
Here comes Tordoff to the outside of Jordan. They're side by side, rear-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive. Jordan on the inside, and he stays ahead of Tordoff. Josh Cook, bear in mind, is a Thruxton instructor. He knows his way around here very well. It's Rob Collard's local circuit, both eager to do well. Look back from Jordan's car. Here is Tordoff up the inside. He's going to go through at Allard on the inside line. Now, is this the BMW starting to struggle, or is it Andrew struggling? Because physically, having not been able to keep everything inside him overnight, he must be pretty drained already.
Yeah, but normally the adrenaline kicks in, especially when you're running at the sharp end. But it was surprising because Tordoff had better traction coming out of the chicane and just drove up the inside of him, which I really didn't expect. You'd expect the BMW to be better, and it does look like Andy's struggling, bless him.
And now you've got Tom Chilton crawling all over him, and he is taking with him Senna Proctor. So I fear that the Pertec team, being the BMW entry, is going to drop down another couple of spots before we're done. Brett Smith is being caught by Chris Minor. Here is Andrew Jordan at work, and he's hard at work.
Yeah, correcting some oversteer there, just on the apex of Goodwood. He looks cool enough behind the wheel, but we know he's not far, but he's far from 100%.
In a week's time, he's on World Rallycross duty at Silverstone. Here, he's on the curb, coming out of Church through Brooklands. Up Woodham Hill they come then to the chicane, and Matt Neal's advantage, 3/10, because last time Colin Turkington did the fastest lap of the race, therefore the lap record is his, even quicker than Matt Neal from earlier on. Smiley locks up as he scrambles into the chicane ahead of Brett Smith, so a place has been gained for the BTC Norlin Honda, but they're overlapping, coming out, look in the background, they're side by side, Ingram is right there as well. And Smiley stays ahead as they make the move now into Allard. Chris Smiley then goes through 8th. 9th is Brett Smith from 3rd on the grid. He was confident pre-race, but that really hot start has hurt him.
Yeah, the quick man at the moment is definitely Tordoff. He set his personal best lap on the last lap, despite driving underneath as failing Andy Jordan on the first corner. He's lapping very quickly and closing down Camish.
So toured off then, his last lap, the 17.4, 3/10 or so quicker than Dan Camish. So can we get Sam Tordoff onto the podium? He's shown pace all season. He's just had no decent luck whatsoever. There is Matt Simpson, squabbling with his teammate Jack Goff. Remember, different liveries, but they're both Euro Tech-run cars. This is Adam Morgan, second in the championship, up behind the championship leader, Tom Ingram, in the heavier Toyota Avensis, the Speedworks car, just ahead of the Mac Tools with Sicily Motorsport entry as they come into church. Dab on the brakes, Ingram stays ahead, but Morgan's going to get the run on him.
Yeah, look, that mid-corner speed advantage. Is he going to get alongside and carry this momentum? They actually only pick up about 10-15 miles an hour on this whole run up Woodham Hill, but he's taken Oliphant through as well, and Rob Austin has got... There's a problem for Ingram. Problem already for Ingram. The car wouldn't slow down or turn in, so maybe he's got a left front problem, and he should drive straight in the pits if he can get across the track.
So the championship leader has a problem. He ran deep into the chicane.
No, it's not a puncture. It's not a puncture.
But he's heading for the pits nonetheless. Now let's have a look. Was there some contact going into Allard? Let's see. This is on board with Josh Cook. Bang into the back.
No, that wouldn't have caused a problem. That was relatively minor. The problem was the engine is running as he comes in the pit lane below us. We'll have to find out afterwards. But a great disaster for the championship leader. Remember, a problem in race 1 will severely handicap you for races 2 and 3.
They were saying they wanted to lose the weight in race 1, but not this way, I'm afraid. So he's losing time, and he's not even going to stay on the lead lap, is he? Because the race leaders are heading down towards the chicane, the team peering under the bonnet. This is the battle for race leadership you're looking at. It's Matt Neal versus Colin Turkington. Down they come, heading in towards the chicane. Is Turkington biding his time here? He's waiting for the moment to strike. They come through the chicane, still tied together. Dan Camish third. Is he heading for the podium, or will Sam Tordoff be able to find a way through? And we understand Tom Ingram has had a loss of battery power. That's the reason for the drama.
Yeah, well, that would indicate an alternator problem rather probably than a battery problem, but the worst possible time for it. They've switched the engine off. He's out of the car. No points from this race. And remember how his season unravelled slightly last year from Alton Park onwards. This was really not what he wanted. No fault of his own at all.
So Tom has to take it on the chin and already plan for race 2 and see what progress can be made on a circuit at which you can overtake, but very disappointing for the championship leader. And this is going to throw things early in the season up into the air. Look at the gap the top 2 has pulled. There's Camish third, fourth is Tordoff, and fair play to Andrew Jordan. He did lose one spot to Tordoff, but he's kept the rest of the pack behind him.
Yeah, it's stabilised the situation now, hasn't it? Maybe Andy was being a little careful, or his tyres weren't coming in quite as quickly as the front-wheel drive cars. But certainly at the front, Turkington is just biding his time, like you say. Lap time's dropping off a little bit. Matt Neal was down half a second slower than his fastest lap on the last lap. Is this the start of a little bit of decline? But Turkington's got no problem behind him, so he can afford to just sit there and literally wait until the last few laps, and when Matt Neal's tyres will be at their worst. Tordoff has closed down on Camish, but that gap again seems to have stabilised. Maybe we're in that mid-section of the race where drivers are just looking after the tyres and waiting to see how the race develops for the last third.
We have got 9 laps to run as they work their way up towards the complex. This is the fight for third. Dan Camish, touring car rookie. Sam Tordoff returning to the British Touring Car Championship after a season of GT racing, both in the Blockman Endurance Cup and also the British GT Championship last year. Split his time between McLarens and Lamborghinis across the 2 championships, but back in the real cutthroat world of the BTCC and wanting a podium after a really difficult start to the season. The best result he's had, would you believe, has been 11th thus far, despite the fact he always seems to have been up near the front. There, Rob Collard trying to get himself back ahead of Josh Cook. 10th and 11th, those 2 run. Looking back here from Chris Smiley's car, he is currently 8th, Brett Smith 9th. Not quite close enough to think about a move yet. Church they come. Smiley goes a little bit wider than does Smith, and the gap straight away comes down. Is this Smith's chance to challenge? Yes, it is. He's in the draft. Chris Smiley defends, to the outside line goes Brett Smith. Has he got the job done? He has. They make contact. Smiley tucks in behind him. But could have been a whole lot worse. They survive it, but Brett Smith goes through, he picks up the place, Smiley drops in behind him, and next in the queue is Josh Cook, and now we get the driving standards flag being shown. Mike Bushell is getting one, Andrew Jordan is getting one, and so too is Matt Simpson.
That'll all be for track limits of the chicane, I'm afraid. But good move by Brett Smith, forceful but good strong move. And moving past the fellow Honda, running wide at the turn in there. He's lost a bit of track position, running wide, now running a little bit wide. That uses more tyre. The more lock you have to put on through the Campbell Club Seagrave section, the more of the tyre you're using. So I noticed that Santorov was extremely neat and tidy in the Gardex Motorbase form through the complex, not using any of the curbs. That's going to really look after his tyres. And look, he is just closing down Camish a little bit.
Creeping up onto the tail, isn't he? So they turn their way through Church. Brett Smith through into 8th place now, the reigning Mini Challenge champion, going after Senna Proctor. Here is the fight for third, heading up Woodham Hill. It's still Andrew Jordan hanging on to that 5th place. Tom Chilton behind him. Tordoff close, but not close enough to attack. Nor is Turkington yet close enough to attack race leader Matt Neal. And there, Chilton is ahead of Jordan. Look, the change has happened on the run to the chicane. That's for 5th. Chilton through. 6th now is Jordan. 7th is Senna Proctor. Can he find a way through as well?
Well, we know that that Vauxhall's very quick, similar sort of car to the Focus is, a hatchback car, so quite possibly has the advantage in the same sort of places on the track.
To the complex they come, Jordan falling away a little bit as he has to defend. Josh Cook closing right up. We are on lap 10. It is a 16-lap race, and absolutely nose to tail, Jordan and Cook now. Josh Cook wants to try to find a way through if he can. Hasn't quite been able to prise open the door, but not for the want of trying.
Yeah, Senna Proctor it is behind Jordan, and already a race with a lovely line through there, Senna Proctor. Look how much time he gained through Noble. Beautiful line there.
And another driving standards flag goes out, this time Aidan Moffat in the Laser Tools Racing Mercedes down in 19th place. Right, Proctor still pushing, still chasing, and Jordan for the moment fending him off. But could that change on the run to the chicane like it did with Chilton last time?
Yeah, well, didn't get quite such a good run, but flashing the lights. A very equal through Church. 6th gear, 130 miles an hour. Great, great corner.
Proctor closing under braking into the chicane, can't find a gap there. He's way up the curve, isn't he? 2 wheels his way through. Has he got the momentum coming out of the chicane to challenge? Let's see. Leaders go through in the same order. Neal to Turkington, half a second. Camish to Tordoff, half a second, 3rd and 4th. 5th is Chilton. Jordan still 6th. Proctor 3/10 behind him when they went over the line. Despite the flashing of the lights, he's going to have to do more than that to unsettle Jordan.
Yeah, still not too much degradation in times at the front. Both Neal and Turkington lapping in 18.0s against their very best of 17.2s set on lap 4. So not too much degradation, but identical lap times for Neal and Turkington.
So the Powermax Tag Racing Vauxhall Astra in the hands of Senna Proctor, 7th, hustling on as they go through Noble. Behind is Brett Smith, doing his best to catch up, but not really being able to lap sufficiently fast to do so for the moment. We're on lap 11 of the 16. There is Andrew Jordan still running in that 6th place. And there's the race leader, Matt Neal, then. He makes his way up Woodham Hill from Church. Colin Turkington behind him. In the 1st sector this time, Neal was quicker. In the 2nd sector, Neal was fractionally quicker.
Yeah, for lots of reasons, I think Matt Neal would want to win this race. He's been slightly overshadowed on speed initially this year by new teammate Dan Camish, but showing everybody that he's got all the ability left to take championships. And here at Thruxton, not very far from Honda headquarters along the M4, it would be a great place to do it. And also for Yuasa batteries, look at that new logo, or that old logo. It's celebrating their 100 years on the front of the car. So lots of reasons for Matt Neal to want to win.
And a replay here of Aidan Moffat up alongside Mike Bushell. A change for 18th place, this. Not yet in the points, Aidan Moffat, but pushing. Having been racing an alternative sort of touring car last weekend up at Knock Hill, saying a little bit at the start of the weekend he was struggling to really get back into what an NGTC car felt like. But it's coming back to him, and so he's progressing up the order, looking forward to race 2 and more progress. The field streams through as we have another driving standards flags offering. Tom Oliphant and Senna Proctor will be the next recipient. Matt Neal then starting to edge a little bit further away from Colin Turkington. Tim has listed the reasons why Matt Neal wants to win this race, but Colin Turkington has a long list as well, because he's a long way back in the title race, primarily after being most people's tip for the title pre-season. And has Mike Bushell got a problem because he's lost a bit more ground there? Look, going through Village on towards Church, so James Cole is ahead of him now. Jake Hill has got past him. Jake in the green and white Volkswagen CC, run by Team Hard, is the man that leads Dunlop's Forever Forward competition for places gained grid to finishing, and he might gain another one here.
The VWCC is a very aerodynamic car. It's always been very quick here, very quick on the speed traps with the Toka engine and slippery surface, but up against the might of some of these faster cars, it's really struggling this year.
Over the timing line they come then, so James Cole up to 19th. And up to 20th is now Jake Hill. There are the race leaders. The gap last time had really gone up 1.2 seconds. We're on lap 13 of 16. Now, is this Matt Neal getting away and securing a win, or can Colin Turkington come back at him?
Well, you know, if Turkington was going to do it, now is the time. But Matt Neal's maintaining a fantastic pace. It was actually a mistake, I believe, from Turkington. He was 7/10 of a second slower than Matt Neal on that last lap, and you can see that visibly on the circuit. He's lost quite a bit of time, and at the moment, if Matt Neal's tyres stay together and they've got that race set up right on the Dynamics Honda, Dunlop suggesting no more than 3 degrees camber on the left front, and that's bodywork damage running on the tyre for Tom Boardman, then Matt Neal could do this.
Left rear corner damage then for Boardman. He'd worked his way up to 26th, but now he's the cork in the bottle, because right there behind him is Bobby Thompson looking for a way through. Behind Thompson is his teammate Michael Caine. And there's another line of cars lined up looking for track position as well here coming to the chicane, because you're looking at the line for 19th. James Cole just ahead of Jake Hill. The leaders are on lap 14 of 16. The gap is down fractionally from 1.2 to 1.1. 11 tenths then it is between the first and second place cars, with 3 laps to run. Camish is still hanging on to third place, and Sam Tordoff, try as he might, can't get close enough to attack. And Michael Caine, with the bonnet up, pulls off coming out of the chicane. Question is, how did the bonnet open?
Yes, well, let's see, was there a little touch at the back, or yes, a touch at the front?
Yes, he hits Tom Boardman. Yeah. Boardman gets sideways and loses a wheel. Wheel ripped off Boardman's car. Yeah. So we've got Michael Caine off the road and Tom Boardman in the middle of the road.
Yeah, so where's Boardman's car ended up? Of course, it's front-wheel drive, so he could sort of drag it out the way, but
it's a big hit to get the wheel off.
It was, yeah.
So Michael Caine was the first one we saw with the bonnet up. Tom Boardman's car spins. It's now a 3-wheeler. The missing wheel bounces to the tyre barrier, joins its friends on the outside of the circuit, and has limped it to the pit lane. So a 3-wheeled MG is in the pits. The track is clear. Well done, Tom Boardman. And the leaders go through them with 2 laps to run. Matt Neal to Colin Turkington. The gap is now 1.4 seconds. Matt stretched it again.
Yeah, you can imagine the mechanic going up to the driver's door on Tom Boardman's car on the right-hand side and saying, "What's the problem? What's the problem?" He said, "Look round the other side, mate. 3 wheels on the wagon."
So Tom Boardman, I'm afraid, is in the pit. So also is Jason Plato, who's having a horrible time again this weekend. Engine change overnight. There he is. And Jason Plato was 29th, but it's just another awful weekend for him. There is Matt Neal. There, Colin Turkington. The gap starting this lap was 1.4 seconds. Ash Sutton, incidentally, has worked his way up from 18th to 15th, so he's just in the points. Well, it's singular, but it's another frustrating race for the BMR team with the Subarus. Right, the leader, Matt Neal, is he on for another race win here?
He's looking very strong. He's maintaining an absolutely great pace, quicker than any of the other top 3 cars, so he's really got into the zone, got into a nice rhythm. He won't be taking any risks. He'll be really protecting that left front tyre. I mean, Matt's style, which is to turn in early, does load up the left rear more than the front, so maybe that style is helping him here, but he's absolutely got this race under control as we start the final lap.
And assuming all goes well, it will be career win 62 for Matt Neal and podium 125 for Colin Turkington. Dan Camish has been on the podium already. He wants another. Sam Tordoff wants to get ahead of him for his best finish of the season. And Andrew Jordan has fended off the challenge of Senna Proctor. And Brett Smith has caught up to the back of the Vauxhall, so that's not quite resolved yet either as they work their way through the complex for the last time, through Campbell, Cobb and then Seagrave.
Yeah, shame about Brett Smith's start, wasn't it? Yeah. But it does sometimes happen on a very hot track with a long lap distance, as Brett Smith nearly throws it well last lap. You get a lot more bogging of the engine because the tyres are hot and they stick a lot more, and you need to use more revs on the start. It's sort of an easy mistake to make.
That's what's this key of experience, doesn't it? So Brett Smith, another lesson learnt, and he thunders on now through Church, but there, Matt Neal, against the expectations that this rear-wheel drive car was going to beat him off the line, was going to win the race. Matt has conquered.
Whoever said that was going to happen, I have no idea.
It was a voice so similar to yours, but it can't have been. Down to the chicane for the last time. Matt Neal is set to win. We said in qualifying yesterday, you can never write him off, and Matt Neal proves it once more. On Honda's home ground, Matt Neal wins round 7 of the BTCC for 2018. Colin Turkington bags second, Dan Camish third, fourth to Tordorf, fifth to Chilton, 2 Motorbase Fords in the top 5. Good result for the team. 6th is Andrew Jordan. Senna Proctor will come through for 7th, then it's Brett Smith, and the next train of cars over the line, Josh Cook is 9th, and Chris Smiley 10th ahead of Rob Collard, and still they battle them, because there you got Josh Price going through on the tail of Mike Bushell, and that's for 21st and 22nd places. But what a drive by Matt Neal, all that experience coming into play, doing everything that was required to look after the car, look after the tyres, maintain that gap and push when he could.
That summed up perfectly. He drove a perfect race. Look how chuffed he is in the car. I mean, he made a great start against a rear-wheel drive car, lost sort of a car length in distance, as you'd expect, but then braved it out into complex on round 1. And he had the pace. If Turkington was waiting for his tyres to go off, he was waiting too long, because it didn't happen. And if anything, Turkington was struggling more at the end than Matt Neal. So absolutely fabulous performance by Honda Yuasa Racing, and 2 podiums in the same race.
And that first lap, as you say, where you had Matt Neal and Colin Turkington side by side, 2 proper professional experienced drivers doing it absolutely right. Great touring car racing.
Yeah, great shame for Tom Ingram. Remember, the championship leader who scored no points. Plato also out. That clash between Michael Kamen and Tom Boardman, I dare say, will be occupying the Clerk of the Course, Ian Watson's in-between race activity. But other than that, it was a fairly uneventful race.
Andrew Jordan 6th. Might not sound like the best of results, but it is an excellent result when you consider that he is very poorly indeed. So the adrenaline has kept him going for 16 laps, but I would imagine Andrew's feeling pretty spent after that, and fingers crossed he'll be able to bounce back for races 2 and 3, but that will, as we said pre-race, really take it out of him. Look, that does not look like a guy that's really enjoying life.
No, he looks very tired now. Of course, once the race stops, the adrenaline wears off, and he looks really tired, bless him. He's opening the door to get some fresh air.
See the shallow breathing, can't you?
Yeah, he really does look tired. I do feel for him.
So well done, Andrew. 6th place in these temperatures, and with the whatever gastric bug he's got, is a mighty effort. Well done, that man. A very appreciative, never mind, a very large crowd on hand here, applauding everybody from first to last as they come through down towards the pit lane. Great drive by Matt Neal, career win number 62. He's not done yet, surely. So down the pit road he comes. He will carry maximum weight, of course, into the second race. Round 7 won by Matt Neal from Colin Turkington. Dan Camish 3rd ahead of Sam Tordorf, and then Tom Chilton with Andrew Jordan 6th. Senna Proctor taking 7th ahead of Brett Smith, and then Josh Cook. Chris Smiley rounds out the top 10. Rob Collard 11th ahead of Matt Simpson. Jack Goff 13th, Adam Morgan 14th. Ash Sutton, the reigning champion, down in 15th place. Rob Austin out of the points, but ahead of Tom Oliphant and Aidan Moffat. James Cole taking 19th from Jake Hill behind him. Mike Bushell 21st, just ahead of Josh Price. Then James Nash from Rory Butcher and Ollie Jackson. Bobby Thompson battled hard to 26th ahead of Stephen Jelly. And then Sam Smelt with Plato out, Boardman out, Kane out, Tom Ingram out. So how does that shuffle the championship? Let's find out. Tom Ingram is still the leader because Adam Morgan didn't score well. Josh Cook didn't score hugely either, and so it is just 5 points between Ingram and Morgan. Dan Camish now 4th, up ahead of Jack Goff. Sutton is 6th. Turkington, who was 10th, is now 7th. Matt Neal is into the top 10, 8th ahead of Moffat, and then it's Chris Smiley 10th.
And only 22 points covering the top 7.
It's going to be a very lively day now, isn't it? With some of the drivers having to fight back in race 2. And so Matt Neal will discover in a short while what this car is like with the full weight in it, which he's not carried yet this season. And he'll be very pleased to have scored the first win for this new shape Honda Civic. And just to prove any doubters wrong, but a great drive that, all the experience of the circuit and of touring cars in general coming into play. And it is Matt Neal then who wins this first of 3 races here at Thruxton. Colin Turkington taking second, Dan Camish in third place. Of course, the winner of the Jack Sears Trophy element of the race for those that up until this year hadn't had a podium finish in the championship before. Matt Neal now being waved into Parc Fermé, and the Team Dynamics car will make its way into its parking place, and then in due course the technical team will make sure that all is well with the car. But Matt will go through his process now of taking down the netting, unplugging all the cables, helmet off, hands device off, and when he's clambered out of the car, it will be a very happy Matt Neal indeed. The team, of course, slightly different this year with no Gordon Shedden, but it keeps on winning, and it's Matt Neal who wins at Thruxton. It is Matt Neal who takes the first win for the new shape Honda Civic, and there's a great response for that as Matt rushes over to be congratulated, and a great drive to score a win by, in the end, just 0.8 of a second. So his daughter embracing him, and in a moment off will come the crash helmet, and Matt no doubt will be grinning from ear to ear as he makes his way over to tell all about a very hot and hard 16 laps, I'm sure, but a very rewarding race nonetheless. A 60-second career win in the BTCC for Matt Neal, who is with Steve Ryder.
Thank you. Yeah, 60-second career win in the British Touring Car Championship. And Matt Neal, congratulations. In the great scheme of things, how big a win was that?
That was very special. You know, that was one for Henry Hope Frost. So we had the fever today. Or in that one we did, both me and Colin. But yeah, special one for us with new Type R as well. So it's the first win for that. 100 years of Yuasa. So here, which is a different livery on the car, which you can see, Yuasa batteries. And so I'm didn't expect it with him. I was going, your tyres have got to go off any second. But he kept me honest all the way.
Yeah, dear old Henry would have been very impressed with that, especially the first couple of corners where this guy was on you.
He was. I had one of the best starts I've had in a couple of years, and I think the warm weather suited us. It helped us get the power down with the front wheel drive. I just managed to hold him alongside, and then got him into turn one. Well done, mate. And
together you eclipsed that lap record of Ivan Muller, which has stood since what, 2002?
Yeah, I wasn't counting, but it's a special day for everybody.
So tell us about the way the car performed, and you expected this guy to be on you as in the latter stages. Tell us about tyres, and tell us about what might lie ahead the rest of the day.
Tyres, well, we did a race sim yesterday, and we knew we were pretty good over a race distance, but I thought he would come back at us. But one of the strengths we've got, especially with the new Type R, is the speed through the quick corners out the back, and I thought if I could get him, then I could hold him, and I could just keep him there at the end. But getting in front, then that let me stretch my legs a little bit through the quick stuff, and that gave me enough gap to keep him at bay.
A bit of ballast on board for the next one. How much would that upset the balance at all?
Yeah, of course it upsets a bit, but ballast gives you traction, so bring it on.
And teammate Dan Camish there on the podium with you. It's turning into a pretty impressive combination. We'll leave them to congratulate each other. Let's hear from the second place man, Colin Turkington. We'll hear from Dan in a moment.
Yeah, Colin getting his 125th podium. Congratulations for that. You said it was going to be a tougher race than Tim was predicting. Was that tougher than you were anticipating as well?
Yeah, no British touring car race is easy, and you take nothing for granted. But you know, in all truthness, that's a great start to my day. You know, the BMW was again very strong over the race distance. You know, I just didn't have the legs on Matt. We had the pace in the beginning, but once we got to probably 3/4 way through, it just started to lead me a bit in the quicker corners. You know, my car just lost a bit of rear stability, and at that stage you got to peg it back a bit. So, you know, I kept pushing to the last lap, but not enough in that race. But we'll look forward to the next one.
It's kind of a great start to your season as well, isn't it? Because you needed a bit of a boost. It's a good result for you.
Yeah, it's a real kickstart. You know, everybody knows in this championship you have to be consistent and score points, and you know, uncharacteristically, that's what we haven't been doing. You know, it's been very much up and down. So hopefully we can build a base from here, and you know, the whole BMW team's running really strong. So we'll keep fighting.
Well done you. Let's dive behind you and grab a word with Dan. Not quite the Honda 1-2 you were predicting or hoping for after qualifying yesterday, but you'll take that, won't you?
Of course we will, yeah. What a great day, so far. Matt's pole lap yesterday was pretty special. It certainly taught me a thing or two. So, had a good look at it last night and did a good job, I think, today. It was not the kind of place you want to be under pressure, but Sam was really quick towards the end, and I had to dig deep and hit every mark, every inch of the track. But it's great, great for Honda, great for Halford Yuasa, 1 and 3. What a great start to the weekend. So we'll build from this now.
Good stuff. Well done, you. With the Formula 4 cars have already headed out, so we are going to have to head off for a quick break now. But join us for the F4 race.
Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.